Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Today I'm keeping it cozy. It's cold outside and the house is cold, and so I decided to make myself some coffee. I usually don't drink coffee this late at night, but I'm like, I need something warm. Anyway, it hits the spot. I add a little vanilla extract in there and almond milk and some cinnamon, and it's really good. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about how to stop negative thinking patterns, and I'm going to share with you guys a few different ways that we can limit negative thinking, and also maybe put things in perspective for you guys as far as being able to think more positive about situations. So negative thinking patterns can cause us to make the wrong decisions. It can cause us to regret decisions. It can cause us to treat others poorly or unfairly. It can also cause us stress and anxiety that may not necessarily be warranted, okay? I look at negative thinking patterns as an energy. And if you have that negative thinking pattern, okay, then it is likely that you're going to look at situations in your life in the same way, okay? And I just want to remind everybody that everyone has good things that happen and bad things that happen. The cool thing is that you get to decide how those situations affect you, okay? You have the power to decide how you're going to react to the many different things that happen throughout our lives. And I believe that it all comes from our mindset, how we look. What is our outlook on life? If you have a very pessimistic outlook, then you're going to look at things in that same pessimistic way. So I'm here to remind you that our mindset is ultimately like a domino effect, okay? So if you naturally think negatively, which is okay, by the way, because I used to think this way, it's really hard to not think of the negative. It's so easy to think of the negative, okay? But I just want to remind you again that if you start thinking that way, then everything else throughout your life is going to trickle down in that same way. You're going to look at situations in your life in that same way. And what's the point of that, right? Like, what's the point of living a life in which you feel like everything is against you, like nothing is going your way? You know, we don't want that. We want to look at our life as, you know, a beautiful experience. We want to look at life in a positive light instead of looking at it as not going, you know, in our favor. I do believe that whatever you put out in the universe comes back to you. So shifting the way that we think is so powerful and can ultimately change your life, because it changed mine. One of the things that I recommend in order to help you manage the negative thinking patterns is to practice mindfulness, okay? Practice mindfulness, do yoga, meditation, something that's going to calm you down. So for me, my way of practicing mindfulness is getting a massage. Like, I know that when I go and get a massage, I'm like relaxed, but I'm also able to just like focus, okay? Focus on absolutely nothing, which is great because you don't want to focus on anything, right? You want to make sure that your thoughts are not taking over your mind, and that's the point, okay? Another thing I recommend is to ask yourself, you know, what is your thinking pattern, okay? Do you think of things as being black or white? Do you think of things as being black, white, and a little gray? This really can determine exactly why we think the way that we think, okay? Somebody that thinks in a very black and white manner isn't open to other possibilities, okay? They see things this way or they see things that way, and that is it. People that look at things in black, white, or gray are more open-minded to other possibilities, okay? Doesn't necessarily have to be one way or this way. It can also be this way. So find out what your thinking pattern looks like. Is it more black and white, or are you more black, white, and gray? I think of situations that come up in our lives, and being open to possibilities, being open to other perspectives, can expand, it really can expand our views. It can expand our perspectives. And in turn, you don't just give yourself one answer, okay? There can be many different answers. And you're not so focused on the one thing that you believe to be true. You're being open-minded to the fact that maybe there are other solutions, maybe there are other ways of doing things. So if you are listening to this now and you're thinking, okay, you know what, I might think more in a black and white manner, that's okay, you guys. Okay, I used to think very black and white about situations, and in a way it was a good thing because it saved me from, thinking even more about stuff. Like, if I just had an answer in my head, like, that was it. Okay, I didn't have to review it, I didn't have to go over it. The only thing that sucked about that is that I wasn't open to the fact that I could be wrong. Okay, I wasn't open to the fact that maybe that wasn't the answer. Okay, but if you're also thinking, well, I'm black, white, and gray, like, that's great too. I think that, when you are more open-minded, it can help you become more accepting of situations when you are open to multiple perspectives, when you're open to multiple possibilities. So an example of this, okay, becoming more open to possibilities. Let's just say I encounter somebody that is super rude to me, okay? And obviously, as a human being, I'm not going to like that. I'm going to obviously be upset about it, but I can choose to stay upset about it, or I can choose to understand why that person was rude. And this is usually the route that I take, which is great. I love thinking this way because I can instead try and understand, you know what, maybe that person had a really bad day, because I know I didn't do anything to that person. Obviously, this person doesn't know me very well, so why would they be rude? It's obviously something that has to do with them. That's usually how I look at things. When things externally or out of my control take place, I try to look at it in an understanding way versus taking it personal. And this is such a huge shift for me, you guys, because I used to take a lot of things personal, but now I don't look at it like that. So, if somebody is rude to me, for whatever reason, yes, as a human being, I'll probably be like, why? Like, that's upsetting. But I can also choose not to let it affect the rest of my day. Instead, I can just be like, okay, well, obviously that person is not having a good day, and I'm not going to take it personal. So being more open-minded really can help you look at things differently. Okay, another way to shift your negative thinking is to get yourself a doggy. Okay, get yourself a dog that you love. She's so cute. I love you. I love you. I love you. Okay, another way in which you can manage your negative thinking patterns is to challenge your own thoughts. Okay, now what do I mean by challenging your own thoughts? I mean asking yourself the honest, tough questions as to why something or someone upset you. Okay, what is it about that situation or that person that makes you mad, that makes you upset? What is it about that situation or that person that triggered you to feel this way? Because, and I say ask yourself these questions because you may find that the answers have actually nothing to do with the situation or the person, but more to do with you and what you have going on. And it's not an easy thing to accept or realize. But the cool thing is that these are questions that you can ask yourself. Nobody needs to know the answers except for you. But it does help put things into perspective. And it gives you an opportunity to be real with yourself. Maybe it's something that you need to work on. But the only way that you'll know is if you actually ask yourself these questions and are honest about the answers. And in challenging your own thoughts, you can also question, like, is this thought reasonable? Like, am I actually mad for a legitimate reason. Is this worth my time? Is this worth me being upset about? Maybe what you think isn't necessarily the truth, okay? So be open to that idea as well. Challenge what you're thinking, because our minds can play tricks on us, you guys. Like, our minds are so powerful. And I know that when we think of something, it can seem so real. I know for me, like, when I thought something, like, and that was what I would like really would focus on, like, yeah, that's what it was, like, that's what it is. It felt so real, because your mind can really trick you into believing what you're thinking. So that's why challenging your thoughts is so important. Like, catch yourself when you have a negative thought. And the next thing is to practice positive self-talk, okay? Practicing positive self-talk can help manage our negative thinking patterns, because we listen to ourselves all the time, you guys. Our inner dialogue is all we have to listen to in our minds. Throughout your life, you will listen to yourself, okay? That's just the way it is. And what we think, we become. So try to practice positivity, okay? Whatever you're thinking about yourself, like, try and make it positive, okay? Like, maybe I didn't have the best day, but you know what? I at least came home and I have a roof over my head today. That's a thought, okay? Instead of saying, oh my God, I had a horrible day and everything is just terrible because I had one bad day. Everything around me is just horrible because I had a bad day. So try and switch up the way you think about situations and practice positive self-talk to yourself. Like, say nice things to yourself. Be like, you know what? I don't have makeup on, but I'm still beautiful. Or, I didn't get to finish what I wanted to finish today, but that's okay. I'll get to it tomorrow. Whatever positive self-talk you tell yourself, telling yourself that it's going to be okay, talking yourself through situations in a positive light can make such a difference. Another way in which you can manage your negative thinking patterns is to also practice patience, okay? So in addition to practicing positive self-talk, practicing patience is so important. Give yourself time to process your thoughts. I know that there are people out there that are very, in the heat of the moment. If something happens, they instantly react, they instantly make a decision. And I ask you, okay, if you want to improve this, if you want to be more mindful, okay, if you want to be more positive within your thought process, to be patient with yourself. If you have to think something through, give yourself the time to do that. Process your thoughts, like, you don't have to react to something right away. You can evaluate what you just thought of and figure out whether or not it's worth reacting to, right? Like, give yourself the time, be patient with your reactions. Don't make a decision in the heat of the moment. And this is so important, because I find that when people take their time to process things, they make better decisions. At least I'm speaking for myself, because I'm still a human being. Like, obviously there are things that upset me still, like, I'll get upset about something, and in that moment I'm so upset by it that I want to express that. But I've learned to take a step back, not to react in that moment, because whatever I say in that moment, I may regret, okay? And that is one of the causes of, negative thinking patterns, is that you may do something that you'll regret, or you might say something that you'll regret. So I've really been able to hone in on this by just not reacting, controlling myself in that situation, or in that moment where I'm upset, taking a step back and giving myself time to think about it. And guys, when you give yourself time, I guarantee you that it helps you also, like, whatever emotions you're going through, when you give yourself time to process your thoughts, it also helps things kind of calm down, okay? And I feel like when you're in a situation where you're calm, you can make better decisions. You can think clearly. You're not, reacting in the heat of the moment and saying whatever you want to say. You're actually making a better choice by refraining, okay? By stepping back and processing your thoughts. And that's what I do, if I know that I'm upset by something, I'm not going to explode in the moment. At least we'll try not to. I won't react instantly. Instead, I'll take a step back, give myself the time to process my thoughts. Maybe I may need to talk to somebody just to, gain another perspective, whatever it is, okay? But I know that by the time I do talk about it, or I do want to express why I'm upset, I'm expressing it in a healthy manner, in a way in which I'm going to get my point across, and also in a way in which the other person will understand me, okay? Because sometimes when you react in that heat of the moment, you're not saying things to get that person to understand you. You're saying things out of emotion. You're saying things because you're mad. You're saying things because you just want to say whatever you want to say, but you're not saying it in a way that that other person is going to receive it in the correct way and want to fix it, okay? And that was kind of like, that was just an example, at least for me, because I do believe that taking a step back, being patient with my thoughts has helped me so much, and it has saved me from saying the wrong things, and it has saved me from making the wrong decisions. Okay, another thing you can do to help manage your negative thinking patterns is to write it down, okay? So instead of leaving it all up in here, take a pencil and a piece of paper and write it down, okay? Whatever clutter, negative thoughts you have, write that down on a piece of paper. Express it in a way that is healthy. Now, like I just mentioned this, like don't react in the heat of the moment, right? Instead, write it down, okay? Even just writing it down helps get that out, okay? And nobody has to see it but you. But if you write it down, it's almost a way of like transferring it away from your brain onto something else. Once you have it all written down, like read it and then think like, okay, I don't know, it just helps give you another perspective. It helps you release all that toxicity, all those toxic things that you're thinking. Try that as a practice. Try that as a practice. And you can also do this with your positive self-talk. Write positive stuff down. If you find it hard to like say something positive to yourself, write something positive about yourself and then read it to yourself. It helps. Okay, and lastly, make sure that you are surrounded by positivity, okay? And I mean externally, like make sure you're not surrounded by negative people, okay? That's such a huge one, you guys, because if you are listening to people who are negative all the time about everything that you do or everything that happens, that is energy, okay? That stuff transfers. And I just believe, if that's what you're listening to, that's what you're gonna believe. If that's what you're listening to, that's the vibe you're gonna like live on, okay? So do in fact make sure you're not surrounded by negativity, negative people, negative activities, negative everything. Surround yourself with positive people that are going to lift you higher, okay? People that are going to be encouraging and helpful to you. People that are going to be open to multiple perspectives, okay? People that are going to help you become better. An example of this was me last year, you guys. Like last year with everything going on, I was constantly listening to the news around politics. And a lot of that stuff was very, very negative, but because I was so tuned into it and because that was everything I was listening to, like that's how I felt. I felt negative. So I do believe that, whatever you are focusing on, if it's negative, you're going to feel negative. You're not going to feel very good. So, it's not always just people. It's also the things you watch, the things you listen to. Make sure that it's positive, okay? Make sure that it's helping you feel better, that it makes you feel better, that it makes you feel good. Because if it's not, then that may be a sign that, it's not good for you, that it's not going to help you think in a more positive light. Okay, and with all of that said, I just want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. It really means a lot. I just want to remind you guys to please hit the like button if you like the video. Comment down below, let me know your feedback. I love to get those comments. I love to hear what you guys thought. And also, you know, if you're not subscribed, please be sure to subscribe. And again, thank you guys so much, and we will chat later. Bye.